Yeah, it's very impressive when I had saw the pictures and like, it was like a huge event. And I'm like, this is very impressive, especially for the second year.
Yeah.
What was kind of involved in putting something like that together? Like, I know there's a lot of different moving parts. I know you have your partner helping out, but like, what was, the experience of putting something like that together?
Well, I mean, my background is in marketing, right? So I did a lot of experiential marketing. I've done various large events. So I've worked New Year's Eve Times Square, in the Pontiac days. So I've done a bunch of different stuff in the event space. So for me, it was organized chaos that made me feel very comfortable.
Mm,
But in short, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, there's a lot of it, right? I mean, think about planning a wedding or planning any other event. There's a lot of logistics there, a lot of people you've got to get together. I think one of the challenges is to figure out what takeaway you want the guests to have. Because ours is a real estate event and not a multifamily event, for instance.
mm,
It's how do you make sure it's broad enough to engage the person who may not have an interest in large commercial investing. Maybe it's someone starting out and they just want to wholesale. How do I make sure that they get the value and it's not so, advanced that, it's not worthwhile for them? Then also on the flip side of that equation, for that person who already has $100 million portfolio, how do I make sure that there's enough value in the event for them, so it's not so elementary or a novice level that they get the value out of that experience, right? So that was the hardest thing, was how do you create a platform with content where it's valuable for both the beginner as well as that advanced investor. So that was probably the most challenging piece to it. It's always a bit of a challenge, but I think we do a really good job of walking that tightrope and making sure that all of our speakers have the ability to bring the listener and bring the guest through from beginner level up through the more advanced and experienced levels.